I'm Julie Bartke with Session Update. On Tuesday morning, the House Civil Law Committee took testimony for nearly 2 hours on a bill that would legalize same-sex marriage. The Senate on Tuesday afternoon began its hearing on the same issue. Hundreds turned out to be a part of the process. For the Senate hearing, there were 40 tickets given to the bill, given to those who support the bill, 40 for the opposition, and 20 for the general public who say the process is worth the effort.
My church is one that believes in inclusivity and unconditional love. And we hope, and we've been wanting to for a long time, have legal marriages in our church. It's part of our religious freedom to be able to have the state recognize the ceremonies that we do in our church, but also have good friends and family, good colleagues, and good fellow Minnesotans that really want to be acknowledged to have their marriages and their love affirmed in the state. And it's part of who I am as a native Minnesotan.
The election, I was very disappointed that the amendment didn't pass, and so this was not the direction. I didn't assume now that that meant that we were in favor of having gay marriage. It's my feeling of marriage is between one man and one woman, and so I thought I better speak up because I don't know if anybody else is speaking up.
The Senate Judiciary Committee took testimony on Senator Scott Dibble's bill, and we'd like to show you some of that right now.
Many Republicans in this state and around the country are coming around to the view that individual liberty as a fundamental principle of our party is more important than getting mired in social issues such as marriage and the definition of marriage, which do not belong with government. They belong with our religious institutions and in our families and in our homes.
You hold in your hands a very special responsibility. As you know, I'm Rondi Rayton, and this is my husband, Philip. And this is my dear son, Jake. He's our youngest. We love Jake so very much. We come today as a family with dreams that one day soon Minnesota will grant Jake the freedom to marry.
As a gay man, I should have the same opportunity to marry as my 3 siblings. My desire to love is no less valid and no less worthy of recognition by our state than theirs. My ability to enjoy the rights and responsibilities of marriage is in your hands. And I hope that you'll treat me the way that you would treat my siblings, or your siblings, or your children, or yourself.
I loved both of my mother figures with all my heart, but I have to be honest, it hurt me a great deal not to have a father figure in the home. And after having a long life to reflect upon that, I have to conclude that you cannot replace a mother with a father. You can't replace a father with a mother. And so it's difficult for me. I'm placed in a conflict of conscience because as the son of a lesbian who spent a long time in a love relationship with a woman, I know that some kind of legal protection would have helped women like my mother. But at the same time, I also was the child who had to deal with all of the fissures and all of the tensions that resulted from missing one biological parent. We have founded a site for ethical family alternatives, which we're launching to try to bring in LGBT voices from the left and from the right. There are many people who object to same-sex marriage on the gay left. There are some on the gay right who object to it, and we haven't heard from them. We haven't had a full debate. What we've had is a lot of pressure, a lot of haste, a lot of rush to try to get same-sex marriage passed, and we haven't had a full discussion of what all of the unintended consequences might be.
Reasonable people can disagree on this issue, and reasonable people can come to an agreement. There are those who believe marriage is only between a man and a woman. There are those who believe gender is irrelevant. I think the people of Minnesota are ready to say our relationships matter, but so do our traditions. Same-sex couples should be recognized, and we can do it with civil union legislation. The time is growing short for a bill to be proposed this year. If same-sex marriage doesn't pass, we need civil union legislation as a contingency plan.
Mr. Stevens, please wrap up.
The time has come for Minnesota to acknowledge my relationship, and I believe that civil union legislation is the path we have.
Marriage is based on truth and values
that men and women are complementary. It's a biological fact that reproduction depends on a man and a woman, and the reality that children need both a father and mother. That's our goal. That's what we put up for a high standard. That's what we should try to obtain. My parents were divorced. Was it the best thing? No. But the goal is what we should be putting up in the best as a society. Not to push down or give people make people second rate. That's not the idea. You put up the goal and the best to achieve.
In voting on this issue, I honestly believe that we have the opportunity to vote in a way that will be noted 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years from now. And this is not in any way to suggest the lack of sincerity on the part of members of this committee or members of this body who vote opposite myself. But I think we get the chance to vote to be on the right side of history. And as somebody who's been in this body for a long time, I don't think I've ever said that before, other than what we did 20 years ago.
This is about family. David Patton handed this photo to me after he concluded his testimony. This is his son. These are his dad's. Look at what you see here. Beautiful child, but as importantly, beautiful, loving grandpas. I would caution those who are opposed to this bill to use language that's dismissive, diminutive of families, children. This is about coming to the legislature, spirit of generosity, of affirmation of the things that we already know and hold to be true and precious and sacred in all of our lives. It's about the love of family and the love of coming together to support each other, to support children, to support our extended family, to draw in the support of our community. And it's also very much, of course, about the civil aspects.
There being 5 yes votes and 3 no votes, the motion prevails.
The bill was sent to the Senate floor.